Hello, it's Mish here. Welcome to my channel. If you're new, thank you for stopping by, and I hope you like what you see and want to be a subscriber. And for all of you returning crafty friends and kindred spirits, thank you so much for joining me again today. Today's going to be another week in the Collage with Mich. This is just a little challenge I put together. If it's something that you think you might be interested in, I can email you the prompts, or you can get them on our Facebook group. We have a Facebook group called Mich Crafty Community, and that's where we're sharing some of our cards and ideas. You can do any kind of format that you want. I'm kind of doing a Rolodex and a Memorydex, and then just trying to do a postcard. But you can do however you like. There is a hashtag CWMich 2025, and the prompts this week are free and pastels. So with free, I was kind of thinking that it can just be free, like whatever you want to use, or you can use the word free in the literal sense of the word free, which is what I'm doing today. And then for pastels, you could use just pastel colors, or what I'm using is the soft pastels. So let's get going. Now the pastels that I have are relatively inexpensive. I'm in Halifax, Nova Scotia. I got these at Indigo Chapters for $17. Probably last year. I just saw them sitting there when I was looking for some books and thought I would pick them up. And they have a lot of nice kind of colors in the box. And then I've had this box from Stampin' Up. They're soft pastels for a long time. And then these I've had for 30 years probably. Got them in the, well, 30 years ago. So for these pastels, they call soft pastels, but they're like chalk sticks. I do have some other things that I haven't used, and they are more chalky than pastels. The thing with the pastels is they're pigmented color. Now, I have been doing, like I said, the format of the Rolodex. These are a little bit harder to see, but each week there's been one of the Rolodexes, and I'm really enjoying that. There's also, I have this Memorydex spinner thing that I actually made myself just from some die cuts. But, you know, some of the cards I think are really sweet, you know, so let's see, which you can find other tutorials on my channel. Should have had those more ready, which I think are really, I'm starting to like as they're building up. That I love that one to flip through and have a look, but it's falling apart here. Okay, so let's rock and roll. Oh, goodness. I only have a limited space, and where I'm trying to do 3 different projects, it can be challenging. All right, so the first one that I'm going to do is the Memorydex card. I took some of my cardstock. Sorry, I just got to get repositioned. And I put it through my embossing folder, through my Cuttlebug, so that I would get a bit of a textured card. Now with this texture card, I've got my pastels here, and the way that I'm going to use them mostly is that I have a little metal scraper, and for each one I just take it and I just kind of scrape some of the dust off so that I have it here on my palette. This is just a silicone mat here, and everything's dropping. So that's just my silicone mat. Now with this one here, I'm just going to start out by doing a little bit of light green, and I'm just going to pounce. I don't have any medium here. I'm just trying to kind of get it down on the background very lightly, and then I'm going to go over with some of the darker green, and I'm just going to work that into the background. Okay, so then once I'm happy with that, which I'd keep going, I have another one here to show you, then I'm just lightly going to go over the embossed part. So I'm going very lightly with this Versamark, okay, and then I'm going to then go over it with some of the yellow, and I'm using my little daubers here to pounce some of the color onto where the Versamark is, and then it will be a lot more vibrant. As you can see, it's kind of popping out now a lot more than what the background is. So I'm just going to keep working with my colors. I'm going to use a little bit of Calypso. It's like a coral. Okay, and then I'm just going to keep working the background until I get a background that I like. So I've done these two in advance, and I wasn't sure which one that I'm going to use. Not really sure if the colors are picking up there, but so I'm happy with that. So then the next thing is that I'm just going to take some cardstock, and I'm going to take one of my stamps. So I'm going to take maybe this peach, and I'm going to just stamp in the Versamark, and then stamp. I'm going to hold it just a few minutes to have the Versamark sink into the paper. And then I'm just going to work this a little bit with I'm gently, very gently pouncing over the top of the peach. This is a peach, and I'm using the Calypso Coral. I'm using some of the daffodil, and I think this is mango. So that, and once it gets kind of into the paper, once it starts to set, then you can pounce a little bit harder, okay? And then try and get that really pounced into that, okay? And then what I do once I get it all pounced is I just end up rubbing it in a bit. So I'm just using that in the bottom, and I'm using that at the top. And you can see, like magic, how beautiful that looks. Okay, so once I get it where I want to get it, then I'll cut that out. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've already cut out one that I've done in advance, and then the other one that I did is I took my foliage, and now I have two Versamark ink pads. One's a good one and one's just an old one, and I'll get that down. And then these are my leaves, so I've just gone ahead right now and just gently found my image. You can see it starts out as really not much, and then I'm going to go with a little bit of a darker green, and as I kind of get it worked in, now I'm starting to maybe just pounce a little bit harder. Okay, and then I'm going to go over it with some more of the light stuff. See if I can find it. Here it is down here. Okay, and then just start to rub it in, and magically it just appears like so. All right, so I've already gone ahead, okay, and then you can just brush off your excess, and there's your images. So like I said, I've gone ahead and I've already done my leaves, and I've also cut out a few I've done some little flowers. I have a bunch more little flowers there. And I have my saying, which is, "None but ourselves can free our mind." That's Bob Marley. And it is so true. There's so many times in my life where, maybe I'm struggling with something, and, I'm asking for help or saying my prayers. And then I'll hear this song almost like an omen, or almost like a sign that sometimes, no matter how much we struggle, we do need to help ourselves, I guess. So I've got that, and then I've just picked a couple, this was some of my cardstock, which I thought kind of went. It's just a kind of bluey color, and I just thought it would go with the background. But I wanted to do just a little bit of stamping, because I thought that would be just a bit too, I don't know, stand out-ish, I guess. So I just picked a few of my little background stamps just to add a little bit of something something to the background. So we've got that. And then I have just this one here. This is the one that you heard fall on the floor. Just to kind of get in the background there. And maybe just this little... And then I was thinking that would just go on the back there. I'm going to cover that up. And then just layer that up. I think I might actually as well, I think I might do a little bit of distressing. Some frayed burlap. Just a tad bit around this little piece here. Yeah, that'll set it off. Yeah, that really helps. Okay, and then we can just put this one all together and do a few embellishments. So I'm just going to put it together with just some Elmer's glue. Okay, I'm thinking right about there is probably good because I want to put my saying down here. Probably. Okay, and then I'm not exactly sure which one of these I want to use, so we'll just get this. I only did enough for one card. So let's see. Pull that over a little bit. Now I need to put quite a bit of glue on this one because of the embossed bit in the back. We really want it to stick down. Okay, let's see. Kind of like the darker background. Okay, I'm going to use this one. So I thought I would just get that down on the background. I don't use my pastels hardly at all, and they do have a really nice soft effect that I like. And then we'll get this little peachy down over here. Off to the side there. Get the little leaves down. And then I had just done a bunch of extra flowers, little peach blossoms, because I thought we could dot them around the card if we need to. That to stick. Like maybe put, I like the ones that have some good colors. Maybe put this one, oops, over here on the page. It's probably good. I also took my saying and I put it on a piece of cardstock so that I could glue it on, which I felt would stay on better. None but ourselves can free our mind. I guess it goes to that old saying that we need to help ourselves, though it's hard sometimes. I think we all have our struggles. And okay, so then there's that. So I thought about how can I embellish this. So I had some sequins that are already backed with adhesive, and they were in the same color scheme. So I thought that this would look, oops, get it off there, to put some of these down to give a little bling bling. And then I have a couple little gems to go on the back, or to go on the little blossoms. See, that's cute how that picks up the light. And then some little gems, which are here. And they might be a little bit big, but I think they'll work. These are, I've just been going through my stash, and these are some old Stampin' Up! Ones that I've had for quite a while. But I thought the color tone matched these ones. and it will add a little bit other dimension, like so. Like so. Okay, and I think that that's just a stunning little card that really doesn't take a lot of time. So I think I'm finished with that one. So that's our memory decks. We'll just put those to the side. You might want to use them for something else. So then the next one that I wanted to work on was the Rolodex. So I've already taken the Rolodex card, and I've put some backing on there. And then I just thought I would take a stencil. So I've just pulled out a number of stencils here, and I'm thinking that maybe we'll do, I don't know, I kind of like the little circles. No, I'm going to use the little diamonds. I like those too. So we're going to take the little diamonds and just a sheet of scrap paper. And then we are going to, I'm going to think about what I want for the background. So I think I want just some browns. So I'm just going to grab a bit of brown here. And maybe a little bit of this kind of rust. And maybe a little bit of the creamy color, which is more like a beige and not a yellow. And then I need a dauber. So let's grab that one. Okay, so I'm going to take my Versamark and I'm just going to push down through the stencil. And I don't care if it's perfect because it is going to be on the background. So now I'm just going to take my dauber. Oops. And again, just start to find the diamonds by gently. So it might seem like I'm really pouncing, but I'm just being gentle until we find, oops, I didn't want orange. Okay, and then once we get them starting to appear, then we can just start to do a little bit of rubbing. Okay, and then we get that appearing in the background. So with the same principle that I used for the card, and I just realized that I had this piece of trim that I wanted to put on the card. So I am going to do that because I like it. So I'm just going to put a little bit of Fabri-Tac across the top of this card. My Fabri-Tac, this is an old bottle and it's getting really thick. Now I've heard that you can put some acetone in your Fabri-Tac to thin it up a bit, but I've not really tried it. So, but I am going to stick down this piece of trim and I'll just let it, I'll set it off to the side and trim it after. I just thought that would add a little something to the card. I really liked it. Okay, so let's just set that aside for now. All right, so now we're back on this card. So then, with the same principle that we used for the other stamping, I've stamped and then did my little rubbing, and I've did some leaves, and I've had some little flowers here. And then I've had this, I don't even know what it's called. It's a label maker, but I forget what the actual name of it. I've had this for so long and I hardly ever use it. So I was thinking of a different way to put my word free. And so I thought I would use that today. And then I have this little bumblebee stamp, and I've stamped that on a little bit of vellum. And then I didn't use the pastels for this one, but I took my Wink of Stella and I did the wings. I don't know if it picks it up, but it has this nice little sheen like butterfly wings. And then for the body, I just took one of my gel pens and I colored the little body, and I had stamped this on vellum so that he looks a little bit transparent. So then with the flower in the middle, I've actually put this up on a piece of dimensional tape. Oh, but before I put that down, I just want it to put some washi tape. So I just want it to highlight the background a little bit. And I had picked up this washi because I felt it kind of blended in well. Now this box of washi I got at the dollar store for like $4. I was very amazed that they had some decent washi because sometimes they don't. This is a little bit short. So I'll save that for a different project. It is a Saturday today. This will come out on Wednesday. And it rained quite hard through the night, I guess. There was thunder this morning, but I didn't hear it, so I must have been either sound asleep or it wasn't kind of in my neighborhood. But Bobby, the kids were saying, and they live about 20 minutes away from me in Sackville. So there was thunder over there this morning. I love thunder. Okay, so we've got a little bit of washi there, which I think looks really nice. And then I was debating whether to put something shiny down. And I kind of like, if it's going to be shiny, for it to be skinnier. But I'm actually looking and I see this, which I think would be nicer. So I'm going to get this down. And then I wanted to do just a little bit of stamping. However, I was going to do it on my flowers. So I'm just going to take this off. Now, a better way to do this, but I didn't really think about it till after I had the flowers cut out, is to actually stamp on your paper and then like to stamp your little images and then do your flowers so that it looks a little bit more organic, but I didn't. So I just wanted to get a little bit of something down on there, like so. And then I've got just a few little dots here. We can add a couple dots. I was so good this week. I got off work yesterday on Friday, and I'm usually tired and I don't want to go out and get shopping and stuff done, but I thought, well, it's going to rain today. Why don't I go out and get my stuff done? So I got all my shopping done last night. All right, so I'm going to put that in the middle. And I want my bee to kind of sit down there. I've already put him up on dimensional. I'm just going to do the center here of this guy. Put him up there maybe. My word free I want down here in the corner. So I'm just going to cut off some of this. And I'm not even sure if I can get the backing off. I find the backing on this very hard to get off. So I might need to just glue it down. I'm not going to fiddle too much with it. If you can get the edge rolled there, I felt it, then you're gold. Okay. So I'm just going to put that down here in this corner. Free. Free as a bee. Free as a bird. Okay, and then just get some leaves down. Like so. Sticking out a little bit from behind there. I can't have too much sticking out the sides or it won't fit in the Rolodex thing, but I can have it a little bit higher. Or I can have it a little bit lower, like so. Although that doesn't really look natural. That looks better. Okay, and then get this one down over here. Chester, he's sleeping in the window in the living room. It's open. It's the only room, it's the only window I have open right now. Just, it is kind of humid, and we're supposed to get more rain, so it's very overcast. So I don't want to let too much of the humidity in. But he enjoys being in the window, checking out things. Okay, and then with my little bee, I have him on some tape. Now you can put glue on vellum, but it tends to shrink the vellum, so you just need to be careful with that. And then I did have these little blue flowers. I haven't done any stamping on these, but I did just now, and like so. Okay, and then if I wanted to, I could put, but I don't think I want to. Okay, so we have that, and then again we want to embellish this a bit. So I'm just going to go back to these ones here that we already have going for us here. And I'm just going to get those in the middle of my flowers. Oh, pretty. And then we need something there. I'm not sure if this is going to work, but let's try it. Yeah, that's not bad. It's kind of small. I probably would have gone with something a little bit bigger. And then for our sequins that I just threw somewhere, we can put a little bit of the sequins down. But that'll have to come later because I can't, oh here they are. Because I was going to say I can't see where I put them. So I want to do some of that kind of calypso one. And I'm thinking that I'll do one of these bigger ones. Actually, I could have put that as the center, but I think that's kind of cute. Okay, so that's number 2. And then the last thing that I want to work on is the postcard. So I've already started with the postcard, and I've put down the background. And I am going to use this the same way that I just did with the Rolodex card. But what I'm going to do is I've cut out this butterfly, and I'm actually going to use it as a mask. So I'm going to put this down because I don't want to have this underneath the butterfly. So I'm just going to set that down, and then I'm going to just pounce behind and around the butterfly, like so. And then that will leave me some white spots. Okay, so then I'm just going to take my background daubers here, brown one, and then I'm just going to do just do the same thing. I'm just going to pounce around until I get the background stencil popping through. Okay, and I'm going to do different colors, pinks and browns. And I've already have my flower decided. Yellows, maybe a little bit of greens. Make it colorful. Okay, and then as you get it done, it'll just start to pop out for you. But it'll be, actually I went over it with a little bit of pink, but it's fine. But it'll be a little bit less where I put that mask. Okay, so then that is our background. So then the next thing that I did, put that aside for a second, probably do some stamping on that, is I've taken another stamp, and this has an outline. So, and I've taken the Versamark again. Okay, ink it up really good and get it down. Okay, and then there we go. And then for this one here, I'm just going to do various pinks. So I kind of want it lighter in the middle, and then a little bit darker, and then a little bit darker more on the outside. And then that just starts to pop through, like so. Okay, and then once it starts to come out, then I just very gently start to rub it in. And then I have my background. Now you can leave it like that, okay, but I also have an outline stamp. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to just flick off the excess, and then I usually line up this one. I think sometimes it takes a minute to try to line up the stamp, but I've got an outline stamp here, and I usually try to find the one that's sticking, this one here. So there's a little one that sticks out, which is that one there. Okay, so then I'm just going to line this up, or I'm going to ink this up, and it doesn't have to be really inky, really juicy, but just enough, excuse my head if it gets in the way there, that I can hardly see this. Let's see if that works. Okay, so then you line that up, and then it really outlines that, which that stamps off a little bit. But I've done one ahead of time, and I've cut it out, and there it is there. So it's just beautiful. And I thought that that would be one of my focal points. So then I also have this butterfly stencil, and I've taken some deli paper. So I have a box of deli paper, and just the same way as what we've already been doing it is I've put this down on a piece of deli paper. I've taken my Versamark and did my Versamark, and then just taken my daubers until I had a little butterfly. Okay, and I feel like this is delicate like a butterfly, and then that's going to be part of my background image. This I did the same way. I just took that stencil on a piece of cardstock, and then I just pounced it with the Versamark and went over it with the pastels. So I had thought about using that one. I also did the deli paper, did it on deli paper again, and then I just colored the background, or the back of it, with some white paint. So I just did my little rubbing with the pastels, and then I thought, well, maybe I want it more delicate than cardstock, but I still want it to pop a bit. And then that's why I thought, well, I'll just put white paint on the back and it will make the colors pop a bit. But when I put that down, I wasn't really sold. I was really debating between this one and this one, but I was thinking that this one will probably win. Again, I'm just going to do a little bit of stamping on the background, and I'm just going to use the ones that I've been using. And, you know, there is already print on the background, so, and it is kind of busy, but it just adds some layers when you do that kind of background stamping. Okay, and then I just wanted to put maybe a little bit of washi tape at the top. So I was kind of thinking maybe this one. It says expressive, like so, or maybe even at the bottom. No, because I might end up taking this off, because I already have my saying at the bottom, and it's the same one: none but ourselves can free our minds. Kind of like that though. I might leave that there. So then this postcard will go out to one of you guys. So I have also did some leaves just the same way that we already have been doing. And then another little flower up in the top there, like so. Get rid of that little basket. Make some room here. Now I can't use dimensionals on the postcard. Well, I probably could, but I'm not sure that it would survive. So I'm just going to move those out of the way. And, right. So, this out of the way. So I'm going to get the saying down because then I kind of know what my room is. Yesterday I did like I said, I did my errands, but what I also did, which I'm quite proud of myself, because I'm usually Fridays, I'm just done in my arthritis and my, I've worked all week and stuff, but I got off work and I just laid on the couch for a minute, which I don't often lay on the couch. I usually sit in the chair, but anyway. I just put it on YouTube for a second. I was thinking to catch, one of the videos. And I caught a video on this guy doing free yard work for people. And he just inspired me to go out and do my whippersnipping. So that's what I did. And I was so proud of myself. So I'm kind of thinking this is going to be the layout for the postcard. Do you think it's nice? So I'm going to get the leaves down first. And again, like I said, we need to really weld this down. Now, to embellish this, I pulled out some of my Nouveau drops because I think the Nouveau drops do add a little bit of dimension. I also pulled out a couple of my stickles. Now the difference between stickles and Nouveau drops is that stickles aren't dimensional. They're just a glitter glue. So when they dry, they usually flatten out. They might start kind of raised in a little dome, but then they kind of flatten out. Whereas the Nouveau drops, they don't. They stay kind of in a dome shape. So then I'm kind of really happy with that butterfly. Not really sure. Let's try to just glue it down. Not sure what this is going to look like. It's not vellum, so it shouldn't shrink it, but I'm thinking you might be able to see the glue, but I don't know. Okay. Like so. Okay, well that'll work. All right, and then get these leaves. I just saw the Amazon man, but I don't think he's here. I ordered a paint tray for my watercolor paints. And gosh, I ordered it back in May. It's been a few weeks. But Canada Post here is on, I don't know, some kind of, it's not a full strike, but it's like everything's slowed down. Okay, so we've got that. And then I've pulled out some stickles. So I was thinking I also pulled out some of my Nouveau drops. This is kind of sparkly and it would be a little bit of a dimension, whereas this would dry flat. I think I like this. Oops, my body got kind of... So I'm kind of thinking just to build up his body a little bit, make that a little bit shimmery. And I think I will do the centers just in the stickles. That'll flatten out, so there won't be a lot of dimension. And you'll see the underneath better. So I think I'll do that. Because then you can see how shiny it is. But then I've got this too, and I'm thinking what I'll do is I'll just do a few little daubs around the page. Now with this, you've got to, which is why I kind of was good to do this last, is you gotta let that dry. So you've got to give it time to dry. So I have this one here, and then I have a green. So I thought that I would do a couple of little green dots too. It's a bit tacky. Like so. There's no glittery in this one, so the pink one has a bit of glitter in it. This one doesn't. But I just thought a little bit of green would be nice around the page. Like so. Okay, so those are our projects for today. I hope I've given you some idea of how to use pastels. So we've used it in a number of different ways, with embossing folders, with stamping, with deli paper, and whatnot. So there are our projects. If you did like this, I'd love for a like and subscribe if you liked what you see. But until we meet again, I do hope you stay safe and well, and bye for now. Oh, just before we go though, sorry, I've got some happy mail. I always like to do my happy mail at the very end, and I received a couple things in the mail. So the first thing that I received was from Rhonda. Thank you so much, Rhonda, in this beautiful envelope that she made herself. And how did I get into this? I tried to get into it without damaging the envelope too much. But now it's sealed back up. How bizarre. Huh. Well, I'm going to have to cut the top. I thought I already did this because I know what's in here. Strange. But in there was another little envelope that she has made. And there's some little bits of ephemera. So I just thought that was so sweet. So thank you so much. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. And then I received something from Jacqueline from the UK. And she made her envelope. I'm just trying to find her address so that I don't show it on TV. So she's made that, and I absolutely love that paper. So she made her little envelope, and then, oh, some great little surprises. Some little stamps, as in postal type stamps. A little card she wrote. So thank you. I love this little bits of paper with the flowers. That'll come in great when I start to do my little nature journal. And I absolutely love these flowers. They're hard to pick up, but oh my gosh, they are so gorgeous. If I had background, they are just, I love them. Okay, and then some napkins. So, you know, I'm always using the napkins. Look at that. Oh my gosh. When I saw that, I was just, that made me smile. And I love the tulips. I love this for backgrounds, which is great. Love that, the dragonflies. And of course, I absolutely love this. And I saw this the last. So that just made me really happy. So thank you guys so much for thinking about me. I really do appreciate it. But now... Oops, and I just smeared that a bit, but that's fine. But anyways, I do hope you stay safe and well, and bye for now.